So tough days. How are you processing everything that's going on in the United States right now? We've been going through this for a long time, but what's
Yep.
going on with you?
Yep. Yeah. So I appreciate you, you inviting me on to speak to your audience and have a conversation about it. I think it's one of those things where, I mean, if anybody that's been paying any attention at all, they know it's coming. It's been coming. It's been bubbling for years, as you said. I mean, I guess my thought is it got worse under the Obama administration and progressively worse under the Trump administration. I think both parties probably failed really to really address the issue. They didn't do a lot to really address the issue, the underlying problems. So here, from my perspective, so I'm a 47-year-old black male, right?
Yeah.
I come from, and you know a bit about my background, but
Yeah. You're not
I'm
going.
raised. I was raised in the rural South. So where I'm from is a very small rural town, Bible Belt community. My upbringing is in the church. I was raised Pentecostal. My mom was a preacher. She was also an educator. So we were, by all definitions, middle class. I still saw the sting of racism while as I was coming up. I saw it with my mom. I saw it with my dad. I saw it even with myself and things that I did. So I mean, it's there. I mean, it's just something that you learn to live with, right?
Yeah.
I'll just give you a couple of quick examples. For example, with my mom, I saw her get passed over for a couple of opportunities, such as assistant principal, such as some sort of supervisor or supervisory position. Even though she had the qualification, she went back and got a rank one. She already had a master's. She went back, got a rank one, and then whatever the next designation is. And she got upset each and every time, but would never really talk to me about what was going on.
Right.
With my father, I saw him get passed over for better job opportunities at the factory where he's working. He would get really pissed off. The difference between she and him was she would internalize it differently than him. She's going to, inwardly internalize it. He would get physical and violent and slam stuff and break stuff because he felt that the system was acting out against him. Then as I got older, I had a teacher. As you know, I'm a writer, so
Yeah.
Your audience,
Good one. Yeah, very good one.
Thank you, appreciate that. Well, what your audience doesn't know about me is I'm in the entertainment industry. I do content creation, writing, stuff like that, video, film. And I had a teacher in, I think, 7th grade who told me that, and the thing is, I didn't know I was dyslexic, okay? I didn't learn that actually until I got into college. So I had a teacher tell me that I could never make it as a writer. Even though by that point I had already won awards. I placed second in the national Disney contest that they had for some play or something like that. I won the 4-H state contest like 4 times in a row,
Yeah.
But she told me that I could never make it as a writer, and you think the impression that leaves on, a kid that's 12, 13 years old.
Sure.
I mean, your daughter's that age. I mean, think what kind of impression that will leave on her, especially if she had a passion for it. Fast forward, now I have a kid's book. It's called The Fantastical Adventures of Sleepy Steve. That book took me on a national tour. I toured around, I don't know, probably if I'm guessing, probably 16 states over probably 18 months, right? It made a ton of money, sold a ton of books. I did a ton of speaking engagements.
Yeah, I remember.
But I launched it at my hometown. I launched it back in Campbellsville, Kentucky, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, the schools, they paid me to come in. They paid me to come in and speak. They gave me a per diem, stipend, the whole nine. The only school that did not bring me in was my high school. Do you want to know why? Because of that same lady who made that statement to me in high school now was the principal.
Huh.
And she doesn't understand how she's blocking people and how she's really, trying to damage, the aspirations of young black kids here. So I said that to say that that's the kind of thing we deal with daily. And what you're talking about is, to me, what is such a sensitive subject, but it's also a relevant subject, is because the one thing that I know when people ask me, well, what can I do, is you have to be aware of your microaggressions. We all have them, right? It's the little things that we say. It's the little attitudes that we carry. It's the little, the little, the stereotypes that we buy into that then make us treat people a different way, and I think that's the core of what your message is when you're talking about cultural mastery and stuff like that, is you have to get to learn those other people, their sides, their story, but also you have to, identify those microaggressions that you give out that in turn are these constant little stings that eventually they penetrate and they become really, really harmful.
What would you say to people right now? Hey, if you really want to support us, here's what I would advise. Because I think a lot of people right now need some counsel.
So I've had probably in the last week and a half, I'm going to guess, I've had probably 5, maybe 6 people reach out to me. I had a conversation with a girl that I went to high school with, not high school, college with. We graduated college together.
Okay.
And she reached out to me yesterday or day before yesterday, and we talked last night, probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that. And it was a very similar thing. She's like, Deronte, I really want to help, this, that, and other. Me and my boyfriend have started this company. We want to, sell stuff. We want to monetize it. It's basically a platform. She's like, we want to monetize it, take the profits and give it to, some cause that really helps some charity that helps the cause. But we don't know how to do that. How do we do it and not come across offensive and this and that? And I said, well, okay. And she's like, I hate being that girl. I hate being that person, that white person that's asking you this, because it makes me feel like you have to educate, all white people. I said, well, so here's the thing. And I appreciate you saying that, but it's not, I don't feel that, because I feel like it's like you don't know what you don't know, right? So a lot of times people do things out of sheer ignorance.
Yeah. Which
the other side
just means you don't know.
You just don't know. Yeah.
Oh, no. It's not a derogatory term. It's just,
that's right.
Don't know.
That's right.
You don't know.
However, there are a lot of other people that do things that it's not out of ignorance. It's actually intentional and deliberate, right. So there's a very clear distinction, and there's a line in the sand that I draw when I look at that sort of thing, And so I was just explaining to her, I said, well, here's the thing. First thing is to take a huge step back and just try to put yourself in that person's shoes. That's the first thing I tell anybody. Put yourself in that person's shoes. How do you do that? You do that by taking the time to read the stories, taking the time to listen to the stories. If you heard my story, you would probably have a better understanding of me and why I'm like I am. I'm gonna give you just another real quick example. The year's 1995. I was at the University of Kentucky. It was my senior year, right? My grades were decent. I probably had a 3.4, 3.5, right? I was just leaving the campus library, or one of the classrooms. So UK's campus is humongous. Now it's even bigger, but at that time it was big. I was walking through the middle of campus, and it's what they call sorority row. So sorority row is actually on the back side, but there's the main thoroughfare going through the campus. It's about maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. All of a sudden, a cop whips up on me, and I'm on my bike. Cop whips up on me, cuts me off, right? Tells me, get off my bike. Within, I swear it wasn't probably 3 minutes, there's 6 police cars that have shut down the entire intersection. They've got me pinned up, and they've got guns drawn on me, right? Now, this is probably 7 or 8 police officers, 6 police cars, guns drawn on me, like I'm some sort of criminal. I'm like, what's going on? He was like, get up against the tree. So I get up against the tree. He comes and frisks me down. He's like, what's your name? Where's your ID? Give him all his stuff. He's like, I said, what's going on? After about probably 15 or 20 minutes, the guy finally tells me, somebody else tells me, he's like, well, there was a break-in at Sorority Row last night, and you fit the description. I'm like, I wasn't even anywhere near Sorority Row. Although, ironically, I had little white girlfriends that I'm cool with that I would go over there from time to time, but I hadn't been over there probably in 3 or 4 months, So anyway, they kept me there for about 2 hours. Now, people are driving by. People are looking, I've got tons of friends, and friends are like, what's going on? People are calling me on my cell phone. People are worried, right? And so they said they'll hold me there until they had the officer that had given chase to the guy come and identify me, right? So after about 2 hours, the guy shows up, gets out of his car. He didn't even have to get out of his car. He's like, guys, that's not him. That's not him. He doesn't even look like him.
Wow.
So then they come over and show me the description of the guy, right? Dude sticks it in my face. That's you, isn't it? That's you. The description says the guy is 5'5" to 5'7".
Jeez.
Dude, I'm 6'1".
I know,
Okay?
it's a big guy.
Yeah. Then it says his description is 160 to 185. I'm 255. And at that time, I was probably about 235, right? This is back when I was more buff and, worked out and all this other stuff, right? Didn't have dreads back in those days. Those days I had a short haircut, right? So, and then what tops it all off, the dude was described as being a light-complected male. I'm not light-complected. I'm brown-skinned. So I'm saying, like, dude, this is not me. Wow. And then the other officer comes over. They're talking for a second. He comes over. He's like, "Man, I'm so sorry. I apologize. This, that, and the other." And then the two of the other officers that were originally on the scene, they're like, kind of scoffing and kind of making fun of me and all this other stuff. And I was rattled. I was rattled by that.
God, it's scary.
Yeah. So I told my mom about it. My mom, she was really good friends with the local NAACP. It became a problem, dude. So the local NAACP was the state chapter, got involved. They contacted the president of the university. President of the university got involved with the police. It's the local police. It was the campus police, right? I think two or three of those officers out of like 7 of them were suspended. They were suspended with pay for like a month, right? They did an internal review. Then they wanted me to come and sit at the table because I was going to sue the university. And they wanted me to come and sit at the table to avoid suing the university. They brought the president of the university in, the president of the NAACP in, the police chief in, and those officers. And they scolded those officers, fired 2 of them, and gave me a letter, an official letter from the president with an apology. Wow. And it was all to keep me from suing them and taking it national. Now, this is in 1995, dude. This is how long this has been going on. Oh. If you think my story is unique, it's not. You know what I mean?
I know.
I'm just telling you from the perspective of someone that has been through what is going on now that could have easily turned, dramatic, could have easily turned into a situation where I could have been killed. They had their guns drawn on me, and that's not the first time, Sorry. So it's like, this is the kind of thing that we are experiencing so often. That's the kind of thing when I say you have to get inside of the other person's mind, get inside of their head, and understand their stories. When you start drilling down and you start penetrating the layers, and you start to really kind of learn and really take the time to identify with the other person, it'll wake you up. It'll really, I think it'll really resonate with you.
You know how much I respect you because I've told you privately, but I want to say it publicly. You are an amazing man. Yeah.